The book of Psalms, chapter 111 and verse 10. The fear of the Lord, YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI, is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI. Double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops, great millstone, who still rule well. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel, the house of David. Shalom. And once again, all praises to our power, our Father, YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI. Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Fear YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI. Fear YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI. Brazilian tourist dies after falling into active Indonesian volcano.
Knows everything. We're here with you.
No one could save her. There was a rescue team dispatched to get her out of there, you know. but the Heavenly Father had other plans. Fear YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI, man. You know, that's what this should promote. A healthy fear of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, YAHAWASHI. Now, recently, a beloved brother had mentioned this to me. Okay. And immediately I thought about the Nutty Putty Cave incident. You know, for those of you that know about that, the Heavenly Father can trap you, man. You know, the water YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI that we're blessed to know his name, you know, Yahweh and his only begotten Son, YAHAWASHI. We're blessed to know this truth. Okay. To understand the Lord. Okay. And at the same time, we're still on eggshells. We're still walking on eggshells. Fear, man. You know, fear the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son. Let me rewind this one more time, because you can hear the lady screaming. Juliana Marins, you know, she's being tormented. Okay. And she fell so far down, no one could get her out. And by the time the rescue team got to her, it was too late. The Heavenly Father demanded her spirit, you know, and to Wadi YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI for the church, you know, the brotherhood, you know, because, you know, one of the elders down here in my camp in Mississippi, he mentioned this to me, you know, in particular, the captain Abaya, you know, Elder Abaya. And I had to look into it myself, you know, which, you know, the brother had sent me a video. I'm going to play that in a minute. But when you see this, you should not take it lightly, because the Heavenly Father can do this to anyone, man. You know, it's very serious when it happens to you. When you see it happen to someone else, like, hey, it's another day, right? But when it's you, it's a different story. You know?
Knows everything. We're here.
Did you hear the screams? She was like, you know. And, you know, you got the her so-called friends. I'm going to say this, you know, because by the looks of it, this woman, you know, she has to be a Jake, you know, Juliana Marins, you know. I believe she's an Asherite, you know, so-called Brazilian. You know, she's from the tribe of Asher. But see, this is what happens when you hang around these goddamn Edomites. You know, what the hell you doing climbing mountains and shit, you know? And true enough, you know, Jake is into nature. You know, we love nature. We love outside. We love the elements. But when you around these Edomites, you know, they're on a different level with it. They take you to the edge, you know? And you know, it's all types of stories out here, You know, you have a group of Edomites, and they got that one token friend. You know, this one Jake friend, and you know, no mistaking about it. No coincidence. Something happens to the Jake friend. The Edomites are okay, but something happens to your behind. This is what happens when you hang out with the damn devil. You know, you shouldn't be doing that no damn way. You know, but this lady, Juliana Marins, she's being tormented. You know, that high altitude. She doesn't have food or water. She's cold. You know, all that's affecting her. You know, when she fell, and she fell twice. You know, based off of you know, the research. You know what I'm saying? Based off of what's presented, she fell 2 times, and you know, more than likely she broke some bones, man, and she's stuck. Okay. Imagine falling, you know, hundreds to thousands of feet. You know, and I'll get the numbers in a minute. But I'm gonna finish playing this. Then I'm gonna get the video by the Captain Abaya, and we're gonna read the article. Okay. Fear the Lord, man. Fear the Lord. The Lord can trap you, man. And it's just you, and you feel it. She's feeling it, man.
We're with you.
Ito call tamu ni. Ito call nang tu no. Oh, ito call nang tu kan. Oh, ito call na. Center kan tilang nang tak. Soalnya lu center na kita.
And you're hearing those Indonesian heathens. You know, that may be the rescue team. You know, that may be locals or maybe the rescue team, but you know, you can tell by the native tongue that's the people of Indonesia. All right, but more than likely it's the rescue team, and they're zooming in. It looks like they have a drone, so they're able to you know, look into her situation deeper. You know, zoom in on her with the camera.
Rasa pindah ni. Ito call.
Papunta si Masih jauh taas no.
Amin.
Jadi ni kalau dia boleh duduk tulang belakang dia tidak duduk. Tulang belakang dia crack, memang dia tak boleh bangun dia.
And this particular mountain, you know, basically it's very slippery. You know, it's sandy. You know, so this could have happened to anyone, but it just so happened it happened to her. So this is judgment from the Heavenly Father. All right.
Kita no. Oh. Pasan no.
Muna trail bawa aja bawang pilih tu bawa. Macam play.
Proses evakuasi jam 19.56 beserta SAR gabungan bersama Ranger dan BPBD, damkar, dan porter. Os friksi.
Right. So you saw that they pretty much exhausted all their resources. They exhausted all their resources, you know, their efforts out there in the dark. And there was nothing they could do to save her. All right. So this is on the New York Post, on the World News. Brazilian hiker found dead in Indonesia 4 days after falling into active volcano, despite frantic rescue attempts. And you know what? It still could have been worse because the volcano could have erupted. You know, see, there's innumerable ways the Heavenly Father can get a person, man. You know? A Brazilian tourist trapped for days, when she plunged off a cliff next to an active volcano in Indonesia, was found dead Tuesday after frantic efforts to save her were repeatedly thwarted by bad weather. Juliana Marins, a 26-year-old pole dancing publicist. She's a damn stripper. She's a harlot, basically, man. Had been hiking with a group of friends on Mount Rinjani, a popular tourist site in the Southeast Asian archipelago, when she slipped and fell about 490 feet down the cliff face Saturday morning, according to Indonesian authorities. As of Monday, the vacationer had slipped to more than 1,600 feet. Right. So that's over 2,000 feet. Okay? That's 2,090 feet. You know? She slipped 2,090 feet down. Okay? And I believe that's all they give you right here. What it says, read more, Salakia. All right, that's a picture of her there. There was nothing they could do, bro. I'll read a little bit more of this, and I'm going to get this other video. Initial screams for help from Marins were heard, and you can hear it in the video. And there's other videos you can hear it more clearly, more louder. And drone footage show her still alive after her first fall. But rescue crews were unable to reach her because of the thick fog engulfing the volcano and other adverse conditions. Yeah, the Heavenly Father, he had her out there that she was supposed to go out that way. The Heavenly Father had her fall the way she did. Spirits created for vengeance. Which were also manipulating, the weather, had the weather adverse like that, to where the rescue team could not get to her. In addition to the visibility issues, the head of the local rescuers, Muhammad Harry Jadi, said the young woman had become trapped on soft sand, making it difficult to try to retrieve her with ropes. That's hell, man. That's hell. 2 futile rescue attempts were made, authorities said. After 4 days of work, hindered by adverse weather, terrain, and visibility conditions in the region, teams from Indonesia's search and rescue agency found the body of the Brazilian tourist, Brazil's government said in a statement Tuesday. And there she is. That's a horrible way to go out, man. That's a horrible way to go out. Yeah, and they keep talking about how she's a pole dancer. Nothing to glorify. You know what I'm saying? But you just see how the Lord can get people, man.
I'm pretty sure y'all been seeing this picture right here float around up on social media, and I'm here to give y'all the story on what happened. This is the 26-year-old that fell in
which I'm going to say this fair use.
I'm pretty sure y'all been seeing this picture right here float around up on social media, and I'm here to give y'all the story on what happened. This is the 26-year-old that fell in a Indonesian volcano while she was out hiking with 5 other friends. Her name is Juliana. It was said that she fell 900 feet into the volcano, and she survived the fall. So y'all, on Saturday, when she fell into the volcano, no one was able to get to her and rescue her that day. But by the time it came to Monday, she had fell down even further. But they were saying that they had to...
Yeah, and we got the exact number. 2,090 feet. According to the New York Post.
Stop the work on that day due to the climate conditions. So the search resumed.
Let's rewind that a little bit.
Volcano, no one was able to get to her and rescue her that day. But by the time it came to Monday, she had fell down even further. But they were saying that they had to stop the work on that day due to the climate conditions. So the search resumed on today, y'all, Tuesday, and the rescuers was finally able to reach her body. They had to descend down like 600 meters down a ravine.
And they pretty much got to risk their lives to get her. You see that? Something can happen to them. Fear the Heavenly Father, man. You know?
The work on that day due to the climate condition.
Due to the climate conditions, you know, because it's spirits out there manipulating the weather. Because she was supposed to go out the way that she did. Once again, this is why the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You know? You know? Fearing the Lord makes you smart. You know? That makes you wise. Okay? And you make wiser decisions.
So the search resumed on today, y'all, Tuesday, and the rescuers was finally able to reach her body. They had to descend down like 600 meters down a ravine. They said this 3,726 meter volcano attract thousands of visitors each year, but in the last recent years, a lot of them have been unalive trying to climb it.
Yeah. Such in the case of Juliana Marins, you know? No one can save you from the Heavenly Father. All right? If it's your time, He got you. Okay? Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 39. See now that I, even I, am He, Yahawah, and there is no God with me. He's the source, the supreme. He's the most high. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So no one can save you from the Most High God, Yahawah. You know? Hey, reading NLT. Look now, I myself am He, and there is no other God but me. I am the one who kills and gives life. I am the one who wounds and heals. No one can be rescued from my powerful hand, because once He gets you, He got you. If the Heavenly Father say, well, this is about to happen to you this particular way, no one can, you know, save you from that. No one can rescue you from the Most High. Who's higher than Him? You know? And once again, this is why we should fear the Heavenly Father. Okay? Fear Yahawah by SHAM YAHAWASHI and be grateful for His mercy, man. His grace and His mercy. All right? I pray this is edifying. Lord willing, this is edifying, man. Call halayim la. Allahayanawa, Abanawa, Yahawah, by SHAM YAHAWASHI, by SHAM, Rachahakwadash. Double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops, great millstone, who still well. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel, the house of David. Shalom.